quasi-experiment. So as you can see, we have a experimental side of the plot where we have ollas planted in the ground with just the top part sticking up, and you put water in there, in the hole, and cover it with a rock to prevent evaporation. And on this other side of our plot, we have our control group where we arranged plants in the same manner as the experimental group, but we didn't put ollas in the center of them. So we wanted to compare the two. And what we did, we put water in the ollas, and then we put the same amount on the other side, the control side of the bed, and waited a week and saw what happened. And so now, a week later, we are going to figure out the results using our digital sensors. So this whole system is a microcomputer, and it's called an Arduino. And it's connected, digital sensors are connected to it through a circuit board. And the way that these sensors work is they measure the flow of electricity between these two prongs. So since water is highly conductive, if you stick it into a very wet surface, the flow will be almost unimpeded, so it'll come out with a very high readout value of close to 100. And if you stick it in a drier surface, since air is not conductive, the value will be much lower. So it's a good way of having a somewhat scientific way of determining sort of subtle differences in moisture levels. So to have these sensors are connected to this LED strip, which serves as a visual indicator of the moisture levels. So it's, let's see, this one is in the ground, so this one corresponds to the red set of lights. And if you take it out, you can see that they disappear. And this one corresponds to the purple set of lights. So let's see the results of our experiment. And we have in the olla, very close to the olla, we want to tell the, let's see. So I'm going to count the lights. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have 11 lights that are lit up right next to the olla. So that's pretty, that means it's pretty moist, because I think there's a total of like 13 or something like that. And then now we have, I'm going to stick them right next to the control plant on the other side. Let's see how many light up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 versus 11, which I think is a pretty substantial difference. So just based on the results of this little experiment and just looking at it, the ground is very moist around the ollas and not so moist where there aren't any ollas. So, this little setup you can build for less than $100. I think all the components together are somewhere around $70, $80, and you don't really need much technical expertise to be able to put one of these together, because we're going to actually provide a tutorial online as part of the manual for our workshop that we just did about how to build one of these on your own. And it's not all-inclusive, but it's some general fundamental foundational knowledge. So in addition to the lights, we have a more quantitative indicator of the, does it show up? Oh yeah, it does. Of the values. So we have M1 is moisture 1 and M2 is moisture 2, so the two moisture probes, and then humidity is H, temperature is T. So I'm going to go over and stick them in different parts of the soil. So one of them should start going up pretty soon. Maybe now another one. Let's do another one. So both of the values should start to rise, and it, every couple seconds or so it pulls a new value. So this is a really interesting way of sort of logging changes over time, and if you want to be very scientific about it, you could make a graph or a plot and have this data streaming online if you want to. So it could essentially send you like tweets on your phone to tell you that the plant is too dry. So there are a lot of applications of this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much next to our ollas we have a QR code. So this is just a form of a barcode, and if you download an application called a QR reader, you can scan it and it will bring up something along the lines of a website or some information. So in this case, we wanted visitors to the garden to be able to know what these things were. So if they scan this QR code, it brings up a web page that talks about ollas, their uses, a little bit about their history. So it sort of gives an explanation to things in the garden that maybe if someone isn't physically there, they could have a way to learn about it. So it could also link to things like forums where users can contribute information about relevant topics to the garden. So sort of bridging the online world with the local world is what we're trying to accomplish through QR codes. QR codes are actually really easy to make. You can go to a website, a QR code generator. I think there's one called goqr.me, and it's a pretty simple process. It guides you through the steps to make one of these, and you can make them link to a website, a picture. It could even be a geotagged location, so it could be something like, go check out the Mosaic Community Garden of Chula Vista, and you could put it on flyers around town, that sort of thing. So this is very user-friendly, do-it-yourself technology, and so once you have your QR code, you can print it out. We laminated it with some tape to make it weatherproof and stick it on a barbecue skewer and just stick it in the garden, and it's a